Hi, my name is Brittany, and this is my channel, Pineapple Grease. Subscribe and all that stuff. And today we're talking about Here You Are. It's this like Chinese webtoon. I think it's the first Chinese story I've read, but I'm so excited to talk about this story, Here You Are by D. Jun. It is 137 chapters, and then there's also like a bunch of side story specials after that. But it is like a little bit more, but like it's totally worth it. I think it's super good. Especially like the sad moments are so good. Like, I don't know, when a story has really good like sad moments, like it's mostly a happy story, but it's just got so much like struggles in it that I'm so overjoyed about. That sounds like messed up, but no, like the sad parts are so well written. Like the whole story is very well written, and I like that sometimes they'll have this like voice from the future looking back on it, and that was something that they started out with that I really liked, and it gives it this whole nother level of like, wow, like this is like it just makes you feel like, wow, this was planned out. Like, this is great. Though one of the things that they say in the very beginning when he's doing his like voice from the future of like, I know better now, he says something about like, and we even had to go through like someone having cancer or something. I don't think that ever happened. I don't remember anyone having cancer, so I don't, like, maybe they didn't fulfill all the things that they said they were gonna do in the beginning, which is whatever, but I just think that one was funny because I'm like, I mean, I'll have to look at them again. Maybe I'm lying to you, but I don't think they did all the things that they said they were gonna do in the beginning, so that was kind of not good. Like, it definitely made it go down a step in my book. But it was still like really great, and I really liked that voice from the future at times. Like, it would come in and it would just give such a like kick to the story. So let me tell you what the story's about if you haven't read it yet. So basically it's like a Shounen-ai story. So if you don't know what that is, I kind of explained it before, but it's sort of like a light, more shoujo-y type feel, but the main characters are both boys in our relationship, and it's so sweet, but it's not like explicit and stuff, so you don't have to worry about that if you are not a fan of those types of things. This is Brittany from the future, so I just wanted to give a little PSA on this part, since I just said like, oh, it's totally fine. There is one chapter that if you don't want to see anything, chapter 104.5 does have a little bit more explicit stuff. It's still very tame and they don't really show you anything, but like if you're gonna be uncomfortable, you can just skip over that chapter. It is like an extra chapter, but depending upon where you read it, I don't know, you might, like, it's an extra chapter, but it might just end up coming next and not being like separated, because it does fall in between chapter 104 and 105. But if you don't want to read that, then you can just skip it, just go straight from 104 to 105, and it'll be like completely fine and you won't really miss anything. And it's not, I don't know, you can hear I talk about it a little bit more near the end of the video, so if you want to hear my thoughts on that particular scene, I would recommend you watch till then. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a warning just in case, because I don't want anyone to be like, Brittany told me that this was totally fine. There are some things that are like a little bit, and this is the only one that I think is like, maybe you should be warned about, but I don't think it's actually very bad or anything. Like, I read it, I think it's fine. It's just kind of, it's a little weird. And if you're not expecting it, I don't want you to not be expecting it. So now you're prepared. You're welcome, and on with the video. But it's so good. It's our main character. His name is Yu Yang, or Yang Yang, I think is his nickname. So Yu Yang, he is like openly gay and in college and stuff, and he has to deal with all these hardships of like people discriminate against him and stuff. But at this point, he's like an upperclassman in college, and he sort of knows what he's doing, and he is like the group, like he's like a group mentor type person for these freshmen. And some of the freshmen are like, is it true that you're gay? And are like trying to be mean to him. And he's so good about like, he just like brushes it off like, yeah, I am. Why are you interested in me? When people are trying to be horrible to him. So he's really good about just like making that go away kind of. And like the people that are jerks are still jerks, but like he's really open about it, and like most of the people still really respect him and stuff, so that's kind of awesome. But like he has so many hardships. But yeah, so he's taking care of this freshman class, and then in the freshman class, of course, there's like this tall handsome boy who is really misunderstood because he's like the super quiet kid that looks really mean and scary. And so Yu Yang kind of, I don't know, he like clashes with him a few times because he like misunderstands him, but they end up becoming friends, and then like maybe more than friends. So you have to like see where it goes, if it works out or if what happens, but there's a friendship that blossoms between them. And yeah, and there's just a lot of stuff about like the hardships of being gay in a culture that like really doesn't accept that very much, and like having to deal with your parents' approval and things like that. Like it's got a lot of these like really hard things to deal with, and it's a really good story, and I really recommend you go and read it. It's, like I said, 137 chapters. That's not too bad. It's pretty quick, and you'll just go through it like crazy because I don't know, so much happens where you're just like, no, what's happening next? Oh no, misunderstanding, oh no, you know, like it's a pretty good one. So that's about it for the non-spoiler section. So those people leave and then come back after you read it. But now for everyone else, I love this story so much. But like, one thing, there were so many like side character stories throughout, and I kind of was not that big a fan of all these side stories. Like I kind of wanted to just stick with our main story a little bit more. Some of them were really cute though, like Huan Wen, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's right. The older gray-haired senpai of like Yu Yang senpai and like best friend. Oh, and his life is so sad. I really liked him because you like can see his struggles are so hard with him being like so hardcore like in the closet. His plan in life is kind of just to like be alone and miserable forever because he has to like adhere to society's standards, and it's really sad. But of course that doesn't go forever, and then we have that cute little pink-haired boy with the, what's his name? Yan, that's his name. I don't know if that's right. But Yan or something. And I like how he has his like, Yan has like the cute little stutter that he does, and like he's had a really hard time and stuff. But I don't know. I don't like how like everyone in these stories just all are like end up being gay. I feel like in Shounen-ai often, I haven't read that many. I've read like 3, but it seems like it starts out where you're like, oh, there's like one character that's gay, and then suddenly it's like, no, everybody is gay. That's how these stories go, and I'm not a big fan. Like, why is everybody gay now? I mean, like, the gay stories are interesting, but it's just like, they're all gay, really? I don't know, Huan Wen makes sense, and like, oh, his life is just so sad, and how he's like trying to please his grandpa, and his grandpa's like, all I want for you is for you to get married and have grandchildren and like be happy and stuff. But he's like, that grandpa, like, it's really hard for him because he's like, that's not what's gonna make him happy, but he's like trying to please his grandpa, and it's so sad. And he's just so sad with how he can't like accept himself. But then he does, and everything's fine. Though I don't think they did a good job of showing us that. Like, they kind of showed us their progression of their relationship where they were like, we're weird friends. And Huan Wen is planning to just, like, be friends with this guy forever because he doesn't think that he likes him. And then there's, like, this weird relationship that they have for, like, a long time, it seems like. And it didn't do a great job of showing us, like, the moment of when they get together, which is a bummer because that's sort of, like, all you want out of those stories. Like, that's the, like, big moment of, like, we confessed our feelings for each other and now we're together. They don't really do that. They kind of just show us like, oh, by the way, they did get together. It ended up happy, just so you know, in case you were worried, which is a bummer. I don't know why they did it like that. It made me sad. Oh, and then we had, what's her face? Zia Wang Wang? And she's like the BL fangirl, and she's like trying to help out our main couple, Yu Yang and Li Huan. And she like ruins it. It's just like every time she tries to help, she like makes it worse. So that's not great. But she's just so well-meaning and cute. And then her relationship with, what's his face? Xiao Yi. It's very nice. Like, they're very sweet, but they also totally like throwaway characters where we hardly even see much of them. It's just nice that Li Huan has friends. And that's pretty much like all they do, is that they're like his friends. They're also like the only straight couple in the story that we see anything about, other than like Yu Yang has like a roommate that has a girlfriend, but we don't even see her or care. And then we had the other couple. Like, there's so many random couples, and I was not a huge fan. The other couple is, we have Uncle Pan and Zhang Ki Ji, the red-haired boy. So like the red-haired boy and Uncle Pan, and I don't know, theirs was completely random. Like, why are they even necessary to the story whatsoever? They're not. They're so stupid. But I will say that I really like the red-haired boy, because I love the character that like starts out as a total butt face, and he's like that rich boy that just like buys people with money basically, and like doesn't care about anything and is kind of a brat. And then he like becomes a really sweet character because he wants to like grow and be more mature to be with Uncle Pan. So like I do like his character, because I really like that sort of character that has like, they start out super crappy and then have like redemption. It's really sweet. But their relationship is really awkward because they have like a really big gap. I think a red-haired boy is Zong Ki Ji or something. But red-haired boy, he has like, he's like 18, and then Uncle Pan is like, or maybe he was like 20. He's something like 18 or 20, and then Uncle Pan is like 36. So there's a pretty big gap between them. And then also it very muchly feels like red-haired boy likes Uncle Pan because he has major like daddy issues basically. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense that that's why you would like someone older than you. But it's basically like he tells us like, yeah, nobody like scolds me and stuff like Uncle Pan does. Because his parents just like neglected him. So it's very much like he's looking for like a father figure. And so it's really awkward. And I don't like that. And I don't really like Uncle Pan, because we sort of are even told like he's not a great guy. And he's so cruel to red-haired boy, because he just like treats him like nothing and is like, I was not taking this relationship seriously ever. And then I guess they like get back together in the future or whatever, but I don't know, it was stupid. But it's fine. It was kind of cute. Whatever. I'm happy red-haired boy finds happiness. So, and I guess Uncle Pan can be happy too. I don't really care about him, but whatever. Oh, but the main couple is the main heart of the story, of course, and I just really love Yu Yang and Li Huan. Their relationship was so sweet. And mostly like Yu Yang. Yu Yang is really the heart of the story. He's our MC, and he's just like, his life is so hard because he's had so many struggles just because, well, not just, but like with being gay, he's had so many hardships where like his family didn't really accept him, and that was really hard. So he has this horrible relationship with his parents, and then his like aunts and uncles are like terrible to him, and he's had all these like he's had like multiple relationships where they were just like guys being like, you're the only gay guy, and kind of just like experimented with him, and then we're like, actually I don't like guys, I'm gonna go be with my girlfriend now. So I don't know, it was really hard. And then like one guy was like getting like worried about like what people would think, and so he's like, never mind, I decided girls are better, like I don't like you. And so like that really hurt him, and it makes sense. And it's hard because he's also like, I understand, like, if you could like girls, then like life would be so much easier. Like, I wish I could do that, but I just can't because I'm not built that way. Like, and I understand, like, it sucks to be me. Like, I wouldn't want to have my life. It's hard. It sucks. People are mean to me. Oh, it's so sad. His life is so sad, poor Yu Yang. But that also makes him have so many annoying misunderstandings, and then he never talks about it. He just like assumes, and then he like cuts ties with people so quick. And by people, I mean Li Huan. Like, so many times Li Huan, he gets this Yu Yang gets this misunderstanding about him and is like, what? He's friends with those jerks? Cut ties with him. And it's just like over and over, he's just cutting ties with him. And it's so sad because he's always wrong. He's always wrong. But I don't know, Li Huan is like the king of like patience and understanding and just being sweet and innocent and nice. Like, he's kind of overly perfect to some extent. His flaw is that he's like he's kind of boring. I think the red-haired boy even says, like, what's so good about him? He has no emotions. He's just this boring guy. And it's kind of true. Like, I think he's pretty cute. And, like, when you have that boring guy, like, that's, like, super stoic. And then when they do show, like, emotions of, like, tee-hee-hee and stuff, it makes them much cuter. Like, the gap is really cute. But he is overall kind of boring, where you don't really hear a lot what's going on with him. He doesn't talk very much. He's just kind of like there. But it's sweet. Like, he's a good foil for Yu Yang, who is like very big and all over the place and like bubbly, and he's the heart of the party. So like they balance each other out really well, I think. So like they do, I think, work together. And they're so like supportive of each other, and so it's really sweet. But oh, their relationship struggles are so sad. My favorite chapter was chapter 82, which maybe that sounds weird because this is where everything falls apart and becomes horrible. But the writing in this part was so good, because this is where Yu Yang, after that girl like talks to him, he's like, oh, he like gets it in his head that Li Huan has like found other people, and like he's gonna go back to girls, and like Yu Yang kind of thinks like he should turn him away because it'll make like Li Huan's life will be better if he doesn't go down this road where he's gonna be with a guy, you know, like it'll be much easier for him if he stays away from this, and he stays, because he says like he's not gay, he just likes Yu Yang, and like it does that really matter because he just wants to be with him always. But yeah, no, Yu Yang is like he's trying to help him to some extent, but like it's so sad because he's just like, he doesn't care. He's so afraid of being turned away again, basically, and like having him leave him, so he's gonna like leave him first, and it's so sad. And like Li Huan is so certain that he's gonna hear Yu Yang tell him that he likes him too. Like, he's been pursuing him for so long, and Yu Yang just is like, nope. Oh, and just the writing, like, every time I read that part, I, like, tear up a little bit. It's so sad. Where after Li Huan, you know, is like, do you like me, type of thing, and Yu Yang's like, no, I hate you, I don't like you, I go away, basically. That thing of like, no, I don't want you anymore, leave! Yeah, so he totally lies to him and says, no, I don't like you. And it's so sad. And then you see Li Huan's hurt face, and he's just like, and he says, why? And then we get the voice from the future of Yu Yang, and it's so beautiful. He says, I thought that why was him asking me the reason that I didn't like him. Later, I learned that he was actually asking me why I was lying. It's so sad. He was asking me, why was I lying to him? You know, like, he knows that you loved him. Why are you lying? It's so sweet. It like, oh, it makes me like, oh, it was so good. It hurt. It hit so hard. And then you see Yu Yang is like crying. then it goes further and he has in front of him, I'm completely unable to hide anything. I'm sorry. Now I know that I'm just a coward. Oh, it's so good. And he's just like bawling his eyes out in the pouring rain. And he's like, he knows that he's a coward and he's just chickening out and running away. And it's so sad. And this was just, oh, this was the heart of the story. Like, if it kept going from here and like really picked up and like did amazing things from here, it would have been like maybe one of my favorite stories of all time. It kind of missed the mark a little bit for me with the resolution. I thought it was kind of boring. Like, this part, I was like, oh my gosh, tragedy. It's so sad, so sweet. How are we gonna fix this? Oh, oh. You know, it was amazing. It was so good. It made me like so sad. I actually was reading this chapter. I started reading it at school. I was like substitute teaching and I was on a break and I had to stop and be like, nope, I have to read this later. I can't read this now because I could feel that it was going to be a really impactful chapter and I was like, nope, I have to be alone in my house. I can't do this here. Oh, it was so good. So good. But no, the resolution for me was kind of meh. Kind of meh. Because it was really weird and awkward and kind of just like, mostly it was like so sudden and so easy. The resolution of like the conflict where they actually do get together, it was kind of boring. Because it's like, I don't know, Yu Yang goes home randomly because apparently, like later he says like it was because he was trying to be further away from Li Huan because he's like, it was so hard being in the same place because like I just wanted to be with you and so I was trying to distance myself from you. So he goes home from college and then randomly Li Huan is there in Beijing even though it's like a plane away. So they're both there. They run into each other randomly and then we have this whole thing where it's like, it's the same as that weird flashback chapter from when they were children. They remember it a little bit, but not really. And I kind of hate it when they do that, where I'm like, they don't need to remember that chapter when they were children. Because, like, them being children, like, I wish they didn't try and, like, bring in the parallels of that and, like, flash back to it a little bit. Because I kind of think it's dumb. Like, it's a sweet thing to do as, like, a little extra chapter. But, like, you don't need to throw it into, like, the actual story. It's not necessary. It's kind of stupid to be like, oh, they magically met like 10 years ago when they were little kids, and now they met again. It's like fate. And I don't know. I think it's stupid. So many stories do this, and I'm just like, I'm over it. It's kind of dumb. Sometimes it can be done really cute, and then I'm like, okay, fine. But most of the time, I'm like, it's stupid. It was unnecessary. It did nothing for the story. It was just random, and like, okay, why? But whatever, so they had that too, which was not great. But the resolution was kind of just like, the one is like, hey, you want to meet up? After, like, they play with this little girl who's like Li Huan's niece. And then Yu Yang kind of calls him and is like, hey, I gotta return your gloves. And then he's like, I'm right outside your house. And then they meet up and they're kind of just like, I'm sorry. And he's like, I wasn't mad. It's fine. You know, like they just make up so quick. And I feel like they almost hardly even talk about anything. I mean, Yu Yang does fess up to the fact that he's like, look, all these things happened. Like, I was being a coward. I really didn't want to get hurt like I have in the past. And so I was running away and that's what was happening. And like, he does fess up to it. And, you know, it like gets better. Like they do talk and it's fine. But it was kind of like, not that great. And then after this we had so many chapters of just like the random other people and I'm like, are you serious? Like I want more of the main couple. Like I don't really care that much about all these other people. If you're gonna do the other people, I'd rather them just do that all as like the specials at the end and be like, oh, by the way, all these other people. Because some of the earlier parts with the other people I was like, okay, fine, whatever. But like our main couple, it's like who we care about. But yeah, so the resolution was kind of dumb. But the parts where they go to meet each other's parents and stuff was really sweet. And how Li Huan like set it up where, you know, before they even got together, he like tells his whole family about Yu Yang and stuff. So because like he doesn't want Yu Yang to feel nervous about this, because one of Yu Yang's big things is that like everybody, like the guys that he's dated before have been like just kind of like, oh, let's just test this out, and then like pretended like it never happened, and like, nope. So this way, you know, they can be open together and everything can be fine and he doesn't have to be worried, and it's really sweet. So that was nice. And also, like, Li Huan's dad is so sweet. Like, he's such a good character. He's so nice and supportive, and Yu Yang even is like, I kind of wish you were my father. Like, you're so great about this. And then he gives him such good advice about, like, well, you have to talk to your parents. Like, you can't just avoid them all the time, because if you never really talked about it, you kind of just were like, I don't know, he sort of wasn't great with his parents in communication because he was so hurt. But it's hard, like, it took them, they need adjustment and stuff, and like, you need to work together. And obviously, yeah, his parents were kind of crappy, but then it was so nice when he brings Li Huan, like, it was so much nicer when Yu Yang brings Li Huan home to his parents. It was so sweet because his parents have been, like, he's had such a bad relationship with them, and he really thought, like he was telling Li Huan, like, if they're mean to you, like, if you feel horrible, we can just leave, we don't have to stay here, because he's like prepping for the worst because his parents have not been great. And so the fact that they were like, we've decided that we're cutting off ties from your aunt and uncle because they're really horrible to you, and so, you know, they don't have to be part of our family because we support you, son. It was so sweet. Like, his parents are like, we support you, and then they're also like, Li Huan, you can come here anytime, and like also being like, don't bully our son, you have to take care of him, remember. Like, it's so sweet where he gets to reconnect with his parents and then they're all happy, and that was so nice. And then the ending chapter of like the story before like the specials is kind of boring. It's just like, he graduates and then he like waits for Li Huan to graduate too, and then they can be together. The end. Like, it was like the most boring end. The most boring end. And then the specials were kind of horrible for them. For like the main, like, the specials for everyone else were really sweet. The special for the main couple was so sad, because it was like, our life is sad now. We don't have the same flame that we had before, which, like, yeah, but it's still super depressing where they're like in the middle of a fight basically in that episode or chapter, whatever. But then they like reconnect and it's like, actually, but we still care about each other, even though it's not as much as before. So it was like super depressing. I was just kind of like, really? This is the end? Like, okay, you didn't want to give us something like a little bit happier as like the last chapter with our main people? Really? Whatever. Okay, cool. Awesome. Great. Yeah, so the ending was dumb, the resolution was not great, but like the story overall was really good. And like going through his like Yu Yang's struggles in particular like was really fun, and like learning about the characters, and even like Huan Wen I think was really fun to learn about, and he was such a good friend. And Yu Yang also has like the sweetest roommates. His roommates are awesome. They're so funny and they work together so well, and it was also really sweet getting to see how they met, and Yu Yang is all worried about like talking to them, and it's so sweet. It was a really good story. The sad parts were the best though. I am a sucker for good sad parts to stories. Like, sad things I think can be really, I don't know, they just break your heart and it can be so wonderful. Like, it sounds so weird. But yeah, the sad parts of this story were so good. There were lots of really sweet bubblegum happy parts too. One thing that I really didn't like about this story was that it was like overly censored, I would say. Like, they put like stuff in the front of their faces for kisses sometimes. Like, they would have like a sticker there, and I'm like, seriously, just show me them kissing. Like, I hate you. How can you like cover up a kiss? It's just a kiss. But then there was one scene that like they like censored but not censored tried to. See, you remember when I said in the beginning I was going to talk about it later? This is the part I was talking about. This part. Okay, and it was the awkwardest scene ever, where I was kind of like, what is this really awkwardly censored, but awkwardly like, what is going on? It felt so uncomfortable. I almost felt like it would have been less awkward if they hadn't censored it. But maybe it just felt unnecessary, and I don't know. If you read it, you probably know what scene I'm talking about, but it was really weird with the way that they did it, and it was strange. Like, I feel like the things that they chose to show and not show, or like try to half show, it was really awkward. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what is this? It was so weird. But yeah, I don't know, that was weird. It was weird. The half censoring was strange. Like, I almost feel like it would have been better if it wasn't censored, or if it was like more censored, one or the other. But censoring kisses is stupid. Even if they were like, they were tongue kisses, so we had to censor them. But like, just either just make it a normal kiss or don't censor it. Like, I don't want a little thing in front of their faces when they're kissing. That's stupid. And I don't know if like the rules in China or whatever are really strict or something. Like, I don't know if that's why, but I found it very annoying. So that part I didn't like. But yeah, overall, the story was great. I loved it. I loved the sad parts. That's all for my review. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you loved the story as much as I did. Please subscribe and stuff, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye!